story with Ollie is just beginning. They are friends, they are family, they are neighbors. They're all new sinners, create their stories, and live their lives like never before.
So this is the last opus. How many of you have played the game before? Because the first opus was in 2000. So you know the game. Do you still play? No. Don't tell me to go, please. No one is playing the Sims 4? Have you tried with emotions? No, okay. And so what did I do? The question was, I wanted to know what was happening when I played The Sims. Like, I had this interaction with my characters, and I was playing, but it's an offline interaction. There is no one, no human being behind my avatar. So I was interested in this offline interaction, and the fact that when I played the game, I felt better. So it's some sort of nourishment of social relationship. What happens? So I looked for studies about this game, and there was no study about this game. Why? Because you have two discriminatory aspects of The Sims. First, most people think it's a girly game. Because it was merchandised this way, like, well, it's for girls, but basically you have 55% of girls playing and 45% of boys. So you cannot say it's a girl game, it's too small. And then it's a video game, so it was not serious enough to be studied. Now it's different, it's changed, but I studied in 2007. And that's why you didn't have many studies about this game. Now you have more and more studies. So what did I do? First, I needed to know what people do in the game. Because, well, it's a sandbox, so you can do many, many different things. So what actually they do? So I went to the teenagers and I asked them. They were aged from 12 to 16 years old. And I gave a survey with 67 questions and asked them, what do you do? What kind of avatar, what kind of jobs, what kind of qualities, interaction, and so forth. And the year after, I came back and I had 20 focus interviews with teenagers and asking them, why did you do what did you do? And so they could put words on what they did and explain me why they killed their parents or, did some experimentation which can appear quite crazy, but it's not. So that was the PhD about. And basically, the last chapter of my PhD, which is being translated now in English and will be published ebook, it will be a free ebook at the end of June. This is the journey that the gamer does. So usually you start with, you have no knowledge of the game, so you start to create a sim, an avatar. And you will be more likely to simulate what you already know. So this is the first step. So we are going to review all the different steps and then to open to the next project. So all this journey is also supports a concept of ideological socialization. So I don't want to be too theoretical, but the socialization is a concept widely used in sociology, psychology, philosophy, educational science. What it is to make a human being social. So how do we do that? And of course you know that little children are kind and altruistic, and after some age they can be very mean and they don't share their toys, so we have to teach them how to interact socially to maintain peace. So this is about socialization. And today video games are, all the time present in children from a very early age. Leisure activity, and researchers are very interested in knowing how children use these games and the knowledge they gain from games in their daily life and in their development. So let's look at what's happening with The Sims. At the very beginning of this experience, Kalo players immediately create themselves. So this is the simulation time. They reproduce what they already know. And what is happening in terms of relationship, they will project onto this sim. They will project what they know and what they do with this personage. I'm not going too far, but this is the key thing. So after a few adventures while they get around the game, they will feel more confident and they will start They played with the rules, they did what they wanted, they are self-empowered. There is this stage when they understand all the relationship with the elements of life. For instance, when you don't go to work, well, you don't receive pay for the work you didn't do, obviously. But when you don't take care of the baby crying, suddenly you have social services coming and taking the baby away from you. And I had a 14-year-old telling me, "They never give it back!" No. This is terrible because I didn't hear, I didn't have the sounds, and the baby was crying, and then it was away, and well, maybe you should have taken care of the baby first. Yeah, and then the other girl said, yeah, you know, it's the same in real life. If you don't take care of your baby, you have people taking your baby away from you. Really? It exists in real life? Yeah, it exists in real life. So they have that sort of shock, like, oh my God, what is happening to my sim? Or they feel a lot of emotions, especially when they try to get a girl or get a guy or, you know, do adult stuff. And suddenly they also realize all the responsibilities. I talked about the bills, but you have the babies as well. And I had plenty of guys telling me, well, it's too much work. Baby, it's too much work. So I find a solution. It was a 12-year-old. He told me, I found a solution. I put them on the barbecue. Yeah, I was like, what? On the barbecue? Really? Yeah. So I don't believe you. Yeah. Okay, tell me more about it. Well, I had a big brother, a 16-year-old, telling me to put the baby on the barbecue. Okay, I get it. But they do those sort of things, and I'm like, really, this is really bad, you know, it's really bad for you to do that. Do you realize it? I'm teasing them, and I say, it's just a game. Hello, yes, I know, but yeah, me too. So the children are really aware, you know, it's this awakening stage. They are aware it's just a game. They are having fun, they are experimenting, they do crazy things. They love vampires. In the sim, they love vampires. So it's big craze. It's super nice. And then they have this issue because when you have too many vampires in the city, the other sim are pretty scared by the vampires. So it's not good for the harmony of the city, they told me. So you have to reduce the population of vampires in the city. So they really get a knowledge of all the relationship between the elements of life. So this learning they have from the game is called an inferential learning because it's not an educational game. They're not supposed to learn something. They're just supposed to play and have fun, but they still learn something from the game and about themselves. So they do this self-reflective voyage, and they get a better clarity on life and also on what it means to be themselves. So contrary-wise to what we think children and teenagers do, they perfectly showcase in the research their ability to reflect on their behavior. And it's not a question of age, so that was a big finding. The different stages of this journey are not related to the age of the player, but to the experience. And that's why it's a journey. Of course, you will know people not doing the journey like that, but it's a theoretical tool. And it's not because you're 12-year-old that you start here and you stop acting there. Because players who have a lot of experience, they will go very fast to the experimentation, you know, for instance. And sometimes spend a lot of time here because they don't want to go there. And some will remain in simulation or anticipation. So it's more about the experience and what do they know about their experience in the game. And that was interesting because now you have rating of video games according to age, as you know, and it's not relevant. Of course, we don't have anything better so far, but it's not relevant because if you are experienced, well, you can play more mature game, even though you're 16. And that's also very important for GTA, for instance, because in GTA you have the moral aspect of the game, and it's for over 18 years old. But if the players have been playing other games before and have, you know, an education and understanding with their parents, they have more maturity, they can play with GTA before. but they can also have trouble to play with the game when they're 20 years old. In the game, they can start being an adult and taking care of babies or sims or whatever. They give time and energy to their characters. When a sim dies, they feel disempowered. As gamers say, they sacrifice so much for this character. And they told me that, like, well, I designed everything, all, you know, the dress, the skin, and then she died cooking. There's so much time, and I had to restart all over. So, but they did, like, they failed, and they restart the game all over. So they're not discouraged, like, they learn something, okay, I shouldn't do that next time, she will read her cooking book first. And then they create a new life. So death is a peak time in the game experience, it's a head-on collision in the game life. Because this virtual life has also limited mileage, you know, they can die in the game. So how do they get back on their feet? They actually concentrate on the now. When they have this issue like, oh, I lost my character, I know everything is gone. And then, well, most of the time they told me, well, I stop playing and then I get back to the game because I really want to do something now with this game. So they can concentrate on the now, on what it is that they want to do now. For the pain felt to be overcome, they need to take off and relax. This relationship was intense. So again, we have this idea of perspective. They also do something that helps them to cope with what happened in the game, like they make fun of it. Like, oh, one day it happened this with my sim and this and you realize in the laughter, like they're really trying to put the realist attention of the situation, not the little boy with babies on the barbecue. I mean, he was not laughing, but like when the sim pee himself, like because very often they use the game when they're upset. So I say, okay, what do you do? Okay, what do? You torture them. What do? You know, stop. You forbid them to wash themselves. What do? Yeah, well, once I was really upset by my sister, so I created her in the game, and she couldn't go to the bathroom. You know, it's real torture. And you have the scene like that, and it's going bathroom, and no, and then the scene pee. And then you have, the hygiene bar on red, like, wow, he's very dirty. And I said, okay, and then you don't let her go to the washroom, right? And she's not taking any shower. Oh, no, I don't do that. So you see, you have different levels of torture. Like, I will forbid my sister to go to the washroom, but then, of course, she can have a shower. So that was another way, like, they love making fun of it, laughing about their failure, and they also develop coping skills. So now I'm moving to something more serious, like coping skills are extremely needed in our society today. And they can learn that from the game. So what is the value of a game simulating life anyway? There is a wealth of possibilities. Interaction in the game system with the game system are more complex. Actually, challenges are more varied and they require extended adaptations. Because I had many people asking me why they do that in the game instead of playing make-believe games with dolls and so forth. Because in the game it's richer and the experience is emotionally more intense. So they like that more, and it's a bit easier as well. You have more props to do many different situations. Players interviewed confess that they enjoy the easiness of the social life in the game. They are not afraid of going to others and talk to them. So they're perfectly aware of the possibility to talk to people. And in terms of the context of expatriation, in Moscow, it was really interesting. Students were very well integrated in the French school. In Abu Dhabi, not at all. In the same social class. So I was like, okay, I don't understand what is going on. And in Moscow, they told me, well, it's very easy because when you arrive here in the Lycée Français, everyone knows you new and they, yeah, come with me and I show you, introduce this person, this person, this person, this person. Whereas in Abu Dhabi, you don't talk to anyone. So they didn't have the same experience of expatriation. And they told me, well, I play less The Sims since I'm in Moscow than when I was expatriation before many countries. Whereas in Abu Dhabi, they played the game more than before because they related to something they knew.
In Abu Dhabi, was it only boys or was it mixed?
No, it was mixed because it's le lycée français Louis Maillot. Because we don't like being losers, right? But we go back to the game. So he wanted to understand why do we go back to this game. And he analyzed that, saying that these negative emotions we feel when we fail, the stake is to transform it into something positive. So how do gamers do? They make it an opportunity to learn. Or it can be a skill like, okay, I didn't shoot very well, now I have to shoot there. Or it can be, an ability, now I need to wait more and then act. So they have to go back to the action and to transform the negative emotions into an opportunity to be better, to get better. And that's a key skill for well-being and lasting happiness. So it may be just video games, but video games of a lifetime. Thank you for your attention. I will welcome any questions, comments, and suggestions. Ďakujem veľmi pekne za vaše pozornosť. Question. Otázky.
You mentioned like a key putting the parents on barbecue. Was it from Abu Dhabi or?
Aha, not from France.
No, because in France, I know in your country they put it in the freezer.
Well, it happens. Well, I'm not sure it's the only country. It's because in France, when we have, and here it's the same, when you have babies, you receive money from the government. So you had a crazy lady years ago, she had 8 babies, and she didn't say that she killed the baby because all the babies were in the freezer in the basement.
And it was a joke.
Yeah, I know, but that was terrible, yeah. But it was funny when the little boy was 12 years old, and he told me that. I was like, where did he find that? It's really an idea.
It was not in Abu Dhabi, so it's not related that it was hot there.
I put it on the barbecue. No, in Abu Dhabi it was postman with meals.
What can you do from your own experience, or maybe from some studies with other research? In general, is this positive influence gains on the young people or not? Because there is a lot of discussion. Recently I saw on the Austrian television discussion about the young people, how they behave. So if this very relaxed education that they said, and there were some people from Sweden, that this is a narcissistic generation, very self-appreciative and very arrogant. And on the other side, I read also the positive influence on some games. So what is your own opinion on this?
But the problem with children is a really good question, because we have this opposition between the bad aspect of game with addiction. I don't believe in addiction to games. I think addiction is something you can develop with anything. It's not the game that makes you addicted. It's like alcohol. Alcohol doesn't jump into your throat. You decide to drink. So I believe in free will. I believe that you can decide not to drink, not to play, not to... You have people addicted to running. Well, I don't know if you run. I'm a runner. I can tell you, like after 33 minutes running, you feel really good. It's really cool. And you want to, get back every day. And it's not good for your body to run too much. So it's up to you to decide, okay, I go running like every day or not. And I run ultra marathon or whatever, people do. Like I had a student in the Czech Republic who ran 70 kilometers. Wow. Do I do that or not? It's your decision. And the problem is with children, they cannot decide. We are supposed to help them to decide or to decide for themselves or for them. And there was this study in India. India is having a bigger middle social class. So both parents, they have 1 or 2 child. They work a lot because they want to give the best material conditions for their children. The problem is they're always working. So the children, they're alone at home. And they play video games, they do things on their own. And when they are like 10, 11, parents have a better professional position, they work less, and they want to spend time with their children. And the children, they say, Because, well, they spend 10 years handling everything on their own. And the power of the parent. But if you transform this emotion into something positive and you say, okay, show me, and you have that with grandparents and technology, show me how you use Snapchat. And then you have teenagers, yes, it's so easy, you do like this. And the grandparents don't understand anything. But they say yes, and they're having a good time. And I saw that in Australia first because you have 86% of parents playing with their children. And they really bond with them over the games and talking about the games. Because if you play narrative-driven games as well, you have to make decisions. So what happens when you have a moral decision to take and your father or your mother is with you? Well, very often you discuss, you talk about it. Oh, I don't want this character to die. I don't know what to do. Mom, what should I do? So the power relationship we think we have and we think we are losing when they know more than us is actually shifting into a trust. You trust them, they will trust you. And then you have this exchange. I think it's better, and it's what the Australian parents said. They have a richer relationship with their children by playing games. I like the idea. But you know, in France there are 64 persons. So I don't know about Slovakia, but I don't think it's very high. We're still very conservative and worrying about games.
Do you know if some parents were playing also the Sims 4?
No, so yeah, that's a good question because I talked about the Sims 4 was released in September last year, and I had a taxi driver. Oh yeah, this game. Oh yeah, my daughter is playing it, and oh, do you talk about the game? No. And so we talked about it and said, just go and watch what she's doing. Ask her, what are you doing? You know, like anything, when they read a book, we do that. Oh, what are you reading? How is the story? Is it fun, not fun? And they often. I really love this research because children were so happy to talk about games. And they're really open and they tell you everything in very short time. So it's a passion, it's fun, it's cool, but it's serious questions.
Do you think that the type of learning you were talking about, through experience, is the same in narrative-driven games as it is in the simulation? Because if you have simulated experiences, those are by nature different than the narrative ones. Are the experiences very different, or can you achieve in narrative-driven games the same effect as in the simulations?
For me, it's really different in terms of the simulation game very often are more open, so you can do more things, whereas in narrative-driven game you have to follow the narrative, even though you have options, but very often the narrative stuck you on a path. But I was talking about narrative-driven games because I'm interested in the experience of it, so making the gamer talking about the game. But what they learn, like if you play SimCity or Age of Empire, I'm a big Age of Empire, I'm that old, player, and you learn how to organize everything and to deal with time.
So you can, in fact, you can make the narrative-driven experience more focused on what you want to achieve, on the type of learning, if you choose to design it that way.
Yeah, and that's why I have the virtues.
Okay.
And I don't know how it will happen. We'll see, but because the problem, games are very rich material. So we will have one title and many virtues. So how do we classify the game? So what do we do? And that's the kind of question I have right now. Like I don't know how to organize them, but I would love to have suggestions. It's like on Amazon when you like a book, and they say, oh, people who like this book, they like that too. So you have that with games as well. But I would love to do it for self-development. Like, okay, I learned this and this and this, and now, I don't know, I need to develop my, which one is really hard? Self-regulation, being loving and kind, like when someone is insulting you. You have lots of workshops about bullying and harassment. How do you react to that? And you can actually learn how to do that as well in a book, in a story that you have. What?
Kill the dragon.
Yeah, so if you are the warrior, you will slay. But you see, that's the issue because when you work, except if you are the boss, you cannot slay your boss everywhere you go for working. It's not a sustainable option, At some point, you will have a big problem. So, and that's one of the issues we have in the society today. We are stuck in this one. All games can have to be like that.
Yeah, because for the things, yes, there is no, hey, only the one you want.
Yeah, how to stay alive.
And to that formula, I would say, like for both men and women, the magician is the highest rank you can achieve, or something
In
like that.
In the book, she said no, and honestly, and it's really good. I really love it. You don't have to go through all the stages. We need martyrs. We need people who sacrifice themselves for others. We really need, like Mother Teresa, she did that. We need people like that. And we need orphans, and we need warriors, we need magicians. We don't need only magicians. And she said